Yeah, yeah.
Okay, shall we?
All right, let's get started. So we have a special treat here. I'm Lance Mason, and I'm here with my good friend Mystery. Welcome, Mystery.
Thank you.
Mystery is the world's greatest pickup artist. Not just me talking here. There's a lot of publications, all the pickup experts seem to agree. So it's great to have you here. He's also a good friend of mine. I guess we've known each other a couple years now.
Mm-hmm.
Been out a bunch of times. We've taught workshops together, which has been always been fun. But I just want to say, for people who are being introduced to you for the first time, they hear this title, the world's greatest. I mean, man.
Yeah, how's this going to work for my sex life?
The world's...
This is counterproductive. This is...
So if any girl's dating Mystery right now, you know, there he is,
exactly.
The world's greatest pickup artist. Let us know how that works out.
Yeah, I set the bar up very high for people now.
But I think guys hearing this, they probably think that when you were growing up, you might have had a lot of social skills. You might have always been good. Yeah.
This has been the exact opposite. I was a late bloomer. I didn't go through puberty until I was 16 and a half. You know? So imagine being 16 years old in the gym. Hey guys, hey guys, hey guys, hey guys. And I was attracted to women even at 16. Yeah. I wanted to have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
It was just, a technical impossibility.
Okay.
And I didn't lose my virginity until a week before I was 21.
Wow.
So if you can picture, year after year after year of, wanting to have a girlfriend and not just not having the skill set, but not having the balls to step up.
Yeah.
It's not about skill. It's just about not being stupid enough to go into any group and say hi. It wasn't a part of my reality. And so I had to transform myself, and I transformed myself very slowly.
Okay.
It took me from 21 to where I am now in my late 20s.
Late 20s.
Late 20s. It took me, some 10 odd years to develop this, and it was a slow process. Now I think that, right now we're actually in a hotel room, in a hotel rather, in the lobby here, and I'm doing a boot camp.
Yeah.
I'm doing a seminar here, and I have, over a dozen people in a seminar room right now, waiting for me to get back down here. So forgive me if this has to be somewhat brief, but I think I can speed them up. It won't take 10 years to get to a proficiency that will make them pleased with themselves and give them a lifestyle that they can enjoy. To go from starting from scratch to being a master at this, a master at attracting women. And what is mastery? What is mastery? Mastery is being able to go into any set and get attraction in pretty much every set, barring any logistical anomalies such as a meteorite coming and smashing in the bartender's head accidentally.
You don't have a technique for that?
Not yet.
I mean,
but we're working on it. We're working on
the master. Come on.
It's virtual mastery.
Okay.
But it takes. I think it's around 3.5 years.
Okay.
And if anyone out there could be proof that this method works, that this is teachable, it would be Style.
Yeah.
For the Style. He has a quality problem right now. He keeps accidentally having sex with his warm-up sets. This has to be some compelling evidence to support that he's on his way to mastery.
Yeah. And Style, for those of you who don't know, he's amazing.
He's my very first student, and also now my best friend. And he's really good at the game.
What's interesting is that you guys have the same kind of foundation of technique, and yet for me, when I watch you guys, it looks like a very different style.
And it should look differently, right? We have the same. We perform the same series of steps, and that's what we call the method. But the material with which we fill in the method is what creates a unique style.
Yeah. And
style is different from mine, even though our methods are, very similar, if not precisely the same. I mean, how we've lived in the same house for years, so we both know the score. I would say about 5% of the material with which I demonstrate my value in a set will be similar to his. That's how different we are. We're 95% different.
Wow.
Some key elements, like for instance, at some point in every set, we're going to have to say, so how do you all know each other?
Yeah.
We have to find out who's the boyfriend, who's the brother, and he will do that as well. But barring those pieces, we're pretty unique.
Yeah.
And yet, there's one thing that he and I have a similarity that I think is really important. We both have strong identities.
Yeah.
I'm an illusionist. Now, in order to learn the mystery method, I'm mystery, it's my method.
Yep.
You don't have to be a magician.
Yeah.
You don't have to perform magic in
Yep.
order to do the mystery method. You can take mystery out of the method, and the thing functions very well.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. You also don't have to be a writer. You see, Style's a writer.
Yep.
And as I hear, a pretty damn good one. Pretty successful writer.
Definitely.
Do you have to be a writer to have his success? No. You don't have to be a magician. You don't have to be a writer. What you do need is what we both have, and that is a strong identity.
Yep.
So tomorrow I'll be running my my boys through several hours of building an identity.
Yep.
Before you even choose the type of identity
Yep.
that you want, right? That you want to be. Who
Yeah.
am I? What a deep question. Most people choose their identities before puberty. You know, I'm a computer programmer. I work in IT. Because they were, you know,
Yeah.
they're a kid. They're interested in technology, and they're,
Yeah.
they're gearheads, just like me.
And
I hide
me.
it as much as I can in field, because it's by its very nature antisocial. And the stereotype of saying I'm in IT or I'm a computer programmer
Yeah.
presumes that you don't get pre-selected by women, and that
Yeah.
you aren't the leader of men. And those are two very important qualities to project and convey to attract a woman.
Yeah.
And those don't exist in being an engineer, being a computer programmer. So I would say about somewhere between 80 and 90% of the students that I get are, condemned to come and see me at some point, because they chose their identities before puberty. They chose it before they realized that they had sexual objectives.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? They've condemned themselves.
Well, I think part of it too is that society is set into this idea that men should be providers, and somehow convinces men that that's attractive to women. And you and I know, of course, being a provider isn't inherently attractive to women. It almost has the opposite effect. And so,
being a provider,
kind of setting yourself as a provider, like saying I'm a programmer, so I make a lot of money, so therefore you should get with me because I can take care of you.
That just isn't the case.
There's
at all.
of
The way I sort of see it is, we live now in a world with 6.45 billion people.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of freaking people on this planet, and we live currently in the midst of an unprecedented population explosion.
Yeah.
Our emotional circuitry is not designed for the world we live in now.
Interesting.
It is designed, in fact, for something like 40,000 years ago, where we lived in these small tribes.
Yeah.
And the reason why we are not adapted to today's environment is because today's environment didn't exist until today. The environment changes first, in this case, a population explosion, and then slowly but surely we adapt to those changes. Well, we haven't had time to adapt yet.
Yep.
So that's why we're out-of-date biological machines.
Yeah.
So in a world 40,000 years ago where only maybe 50 people live in a group,
mm-hmm.
the only person who's really going to get all the women is the person or the people surrounding that one person who is the tribal leader.
Yep.
So what I'm suggesting to these, dozen people downstairs is, in the seminar, is that they have to convey that they are the tribal leader of their own group.
Yeah.
Now, certainly we live in this huge community where there's so many different tribes all intermixed.
Yeah.
But if you can convey some sort of proof, if you've got some compelling evidence to support that you are the tribal leader of your particular tribe of 50 people, and that includes, your friends, your family, and their friends, then women are going to, because they're hardwired for it, they're going to find you attractive.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do. That's the endeavor. And the identity that we choose and the one that we project has to convey that we are the tribal leader.
That's really interesting, because I think people hear your information about identity, but you have such an amazing identity. Style has an amazing identity. What you're saying is you just need to have an identity that puts you as the leader of your tribe.
That's
you don't
right.
have to
we selected them on purpose, of course. What I tell people is, before you go running around saying I work in IT, what I say is, I suggest that they revisit the whole concept of who they are. Who am I? And before you even can get to choosing an identity, let's assume, of course, you're going to choose one whose stereotype is going to work for you, and allow the woman to presume you get pre-selected by other women, and that you're the leader of men, therefore the tribal leader. before you even choose your identity, let's go back one more step. Mm-hmm. What type of woman do you want? Most people say, well, I want her to be hot. Well, great. But then what identity is a hot woman going to, have or be?
Yeah. She's going to be the leader of her tribe.
She's going to be the
leader
of her.
Women are
she's
going to
be the leader of her tribe. Or
and
at least she's going to try to be.
Yeah.
Sure, it's possible to meet a woman who is both beautiful and merely a librarian. It's possible, but it's not probable. Generally speaking, librarians...
Well, people gravitate to her anyway.
No disrespect to librarians out there.
We love librarians.
Generally speaking, they're not that hot. All right? Again, no disrespect. However...
I kind of like the glasses and the hair,
yeah.
I kind of like that. But
it's nice, but there's a distinction between probability and possibility, right? It's possible to find a hot librarian, but it's not probable. It's more probable to find a hot Playboy model.
Yeah.
But a woman did not become a Playboy model and work her ass off to risk ridicule with her parents and whatnot in order to date a guy in IT.
Yeah.
You see?
The interesting thing about this is people come to me and they'll argue. The subject of a rock star will come up or some kind of celebrity, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, but he doesn't have any skills. He's just," and I'll say, "No.
Do you know how
his
hard
celebrity is a skill."
Do you know how hard it
exactly?
How hard it is to become that?
Yeah.
I remember this one time. There's a singer named Mark McGrath.
Yeah.
He's
Marky
from
Mark.
Sugar Ray. No, not Mark. Mark McGrath from Sugar Ray. He sings, "I just want to fly. Put your arms around me, baby." Okay, well, he was in.
Are you going to sing more for us?
No, we're done. We're done for now. That's not till later in the relationship. Buy me a drink before you hit on me like this. What ended up happening was we saw him in an audience. He was sitting there with a few of his friends, and I was sitting, a few tables away, right in front of him. We were out to see a show. It was Andrew Dice Clay.
Okay.
And he was doing just a small show, kind of warm up before he went to Vegas. And I was sitting with Dreamweaver and The One.
Okay, yeah.
Two kick-ass PUAs in Los Angeles. And we saw Mark McGrath, and right in front of him, sitting with a guy was a beautiful woman. Rating from 1 to 10, not that I would ever rate a woman from 1 to 10. That would be just so misogynistic. That was wrong. She was an 11. She was hot. She was a beautiful, beautiful girl. Well, it was like 2 minutes before the show, and we're conspiring. We're like, all right, what's the game plan, man? I want to go into that set. How do I do it? And I'm like, the boyfriend's right there. They came together. They're leaving together. How am I going to get into that set? Well, just then, she gets up and goes to the washroom.
Okay.
And I'm thinking,
Time to move.
Let's begin, right? But there was technical difficulties here, obviously.
Yeah.
She's going to head to the washroom, come back, and the show was really about to start. You could already feel the hushing of the crowd. So as she comes back, I was thinking maybe afterwards I'll be able to initiate the chat, or maybe another time, because there was technical difficulties. So as she comes back, she notices Mark McGrath, and she was just starry-eyed, doggy dinner bowl eyes.
Yeah.
Boink. And she comes in standing, and she comes down like this, and she goes down on her knees.
Wow.
She's holding them, and she's talking to him like this for about 2 minutes. And he's just sitting in the chair, and she's up like this. So happy.
And let me guess, he's just laid back. He's just laid back
and talking over his shoulder to her.
Yeah.
And she's down on her knees like this, talking for about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And they exchange numbers. And he gets up, and she gets up and sits down with her boyfriend, and they're hugging again, and that's that. The boyfriend didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Okay?
Wow.
And
she picked him up.
She picked him up, right? And of course, Dreamweaver, he turns to me and he goes, "Fucking Mark McGrath. God damn it. Look how easy it is for him." And I said to him, wait a second.
Yeah.
Do you know how much work he had to put into putting videos together to get his A2 out there?
Yeah.
A2, by the way, in my step-by-step
mystery
method,
yeah.
A1 is where you open the set.
Mm-hmm.
A2 is where you create female-to-male attraction, where the female becomes attracted to the male.
Yep.
And there's a sequence of steps that must take place. And he's already completed that one.
Yeah.
He's worked his butt off.
For the whole world.
For the
whole world is his set. Yeah.
And what, you think he's doing it for the music?
No.
Of course not. I saw his documentary on
they don't even say they're doing it for the music.
Well, he loves hard, thrash metal.
Yeah, they have those soft songs and they have the really hard songs.
But he used to do the hard thrash metal for himself. That's what he likes. It's his own personal shtick. But then he decided to sell out.
Yeah.
And sell out is not a bad thing. He sells out every crowd he works. So good for him. That takes effort.
And the thing I want people to get too is you don't have to be Mark McGrath to have a strong identity. You have to be the strongest person in your peer group of 50 people, whatever you define that to be.
You don't need to be a successful singer. You don't need to be a successful magician. You don't need to be a successful writer.
Yeah.
These are just 3 examples.
Yeah.
But what you do need is what we all have, and that is a strong identity, a strong sense of self, and that identity must convey that you are both the leader of men.
Yep.
And you come pre-selected.
Yeah.
The identity must have a stereotype which presumes such.
Yep. And what I love about your identity is, now you're a magician, an illusionist.
Yep. I'm not even here.
Illusionist.
It's an illusion.
Where is he? But you can kind of see that from across the room, and you dress in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. This is what we call peacocking.
Yep.
And I'm wearing peacock gear. This is not necessarily for everybody, meaning that if you are an accountant, this won't be very congruent with your identity. However, I'd rather be a very lousy rock star than a really great accountant.
Yeah.
Just because of the stereotype.
Well, if you're an accountant and you play guitar on the side, when you go out, you don't say you're an accountant. You say you're a rock star. Yeah.
That's right, and that's a different ballgame, and then you will dress accordingly.
Yeah.
The very there's a method to my madness. I mean, black nails and wearing what I'm wearing. Obviously, I'm a pretty smart guy. I wouldn't be wearing this if it didn't work to my advantage somehow.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Oh well, let me just say, like, it's really interesting to be talking to girls and being in the room with this guy, because he walks in and you see girls turn. You're like, okay, Mystery's in the room. What do I do?
Right.
I mean, no, really, because people see you from across the room. You're always working the whole room.
What's funny is I had a very good friend of mine up in Toronto, where I'm born and raised.
Yeah.
And he's an old high school buddy, very cool guy, and he's since changed his identity.
Okay.
He's now a hypnotist.
Wow.
And that works out quite nicely because he was very much into neurolinguistic programming, and that was what we worked with.
Okay.
But originally he was an engineer.
Yeah.
So picture he and I going to a public gathering. I'm creating the whole mystery persona, illusionist.
Yeah.
And then they turn to my friend who's sitting right next to me, and they say, "So what do you do?"
Yeah.
He says, "I'm an engineer."
Yeah.
And they respond by saying, "Oh, so Mystery, tell me more about yourself."
Of course.
And it would blow him out of set. So some identities are very much stronger than others.
Yeah. Yeah.
I say, find out the type of woman you want. If you want them to be beautiful, if you're after particularly beautiful women, then know that certain types of
beautiful women
are going to...
If you happen to be interested in beautiful women.
Some people aren't for some reason. I don't know why that is. I can't understand it. But I say raise your standards.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. And if you want particularly beautiful women, you have to recognize that they're going to align with certain identities.
Yeah.
Certain female identities. Models.
Yeah.
Actresses. Even, just hired guns within nightclubs,
like the
or
bartenders,
the
waitresses,
shooter girls, go-go dancers. You can thank management for finding these girls for you.
They work hard for us, don't
they?
You
can save so much time finding these girls just by going to the right location where they already work. But they're hired for their beauty, and they know it, and they're taking advantage of that fact. Hell, even most models, supermodels and such. Let's be real; they were beautiful at age 13 or 14, and someone discovered that and thought, I can make money off of this. I can bank on this.
Yeah.
Right? So they did not decide to become models. The modeling identity, that came to them.
Yeah.
So we now have to decide on an identity for ourselves that is going to be aligned with the identity of beautiful women.
Yeah.
And that includes, again, all the hired guns. Maybe you might find exotic dancers attractive, on occasion.
Some people might.
You might find them
Maybe
attractive.
someone out there would.
Yeah, no, I would never. But, there's also models, supermodels. Sure, it is possible to find a very attractive lawyer. It is possible.
Yeah.
But it is, logistically, it's less probable.
Yeah.
So...
But I want to say, like, from and I've studied a lot of your ideas for quite a while now, and I found that really hot women of all types of professions, even the lawyers, things like accountants, finance women, they're very attracted to this idea of a very strong identity because they understand their value.
Exactly. And now let's move forward one step beyond that to this concept of peacocking.
Yeah.
Again, if you're going to peacock, it has to be aligned with your identity.
Yep.
But assuming that it is, why is it that people will dress up so outrageously, and why is it that women are finding this attractive? The reason is found literally with peacocks.
Yep.
This is why we call it peacock theory. What ends up occurring is, with a peacock has this long, cumbersome tail, which provides some compelling evidence to support that the peacock must be very healthy indeed to be able to still survive despite this appendage.
It can't be easy.
It's not
an
easy life. Well, guess what? Dressing like this, it ain't easy. I have to get used to it over time. Any guy that sees me out in a public gathering will want to screw with me.
Yep.
And the very fact that I'm dolled up this way, and I can get away with it quite well now, thank you very much, is compelling evidence to support that I'm pretty confident.
Yeah.
That I'm pretty competent, that I can handle myself in any situation. What's kind of odd is if I am by myself, guys will poke at me. For instance, I've got this weird bug bag that I love wearing sometimes.
Yeah.
It's made out of
got the
latex.
Plastic spikes on it.
Yeah, plastic spikes and stuff. And guys will poke at it and say, "Hey, what are you, a bumblebee?"
Yeah.
And point at this thing. But if I have two women on my arms, they won't say a word.
Yeah.
Guys will not bother talking to me.
I've noticed something too, because I've played around with these ideas and they work great. And I noticed early on, when I was, like you said, you have to get used to it. It is very difficult to peacock at first. Yep. And as you're getting used to it, guys kind of mess with you a lot because I think they can sense your lack of confidence with it. Once you get confident with it, I've noticed people stop grabbing my hat, people stop poking me, even if I didn't have a girl.
And we get a lot faster going, wait a second now.
Whoa.
Hey, hence yourself there, Casper. These guys at nighttime never come out in the day. So there's also this neat little concept that I've discovered. When you go into a public gathering and you're peacocked, if you do not get into a set right away and get surrounded by women, and you walk around the room once, everyone recognizes you, they see you because you are memorable. If you go around a second time and you're still by yourself, you're going to be alone all night long because they know why you're alone. Because look at the way this guy's dressed. But if you can get into a set right away within the first minute and a half, and that's what I want to do. I want to try to do that as quickly as possible. And now I've got some social proof, thereby raising my social value, or at least my perceived social value. When I walk around that room, they'll know why these women are with me, because I'm dressed this way.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It's kind of a powerful thing. When you go out there, I think everything you do, and this is something I learned from you, everything you do is incredibly intensified. If you do things right, i.e. you're with hot women, people are loving your conversation, everybody's laughing, everybody notices, and that effect is magnified. But if you're alone in the bar, or if you walk in alone, or if you walk around the room, like you said twice, everybody notices you're alone.
Exactly.
And you feel it.
No doubt.
If I'm dressed up like that, and I'm not talking to
Think about the first time I bought shoes like this. Okay.
You got me.
Yeah, I got you a little bit.
Definitely got me.
And I'm 6'5" already, so what you can't. I tell people what you can't fix, you feature. The first time I did this, first off, the first time I bought shoes like this, actually I've got even bigger shoes. All right, I've got bigger ones. And the first time I bought them,
is actually I've seen you dressed much more
I'm dressed down
outrageous. Yeah, this is dressed down.
It's daytime. But the first time I bought shoes like that, before I even ever wore them, I thought to myself, what is wrong with me? Why am I buying these? And really it was just for the lighthearted social experiment. But I remember, back then when I had absolutely no money, $300 for these boots were hardcore.
Yeah.
That was a lot of money to invest in an experiment.
Yeah.
And I thought, why am I doing this? Because I think it will work. Mm-hmm. That's why. And the first time I wore them, I had what you would call incongruence.
Yeah.
Where, what you're doing just isn't matching with who you are.
Yeah.
It just isn't matching properly. And I felt so self-conscious.
Yeah.
Same with the first time I
I'm feeling just hearing the story.
The first time I painted my nails black.
Yeah.
Okay? Now I've been doing this for years and I feel naked without black nails now, but the first time I did it, I remember, this was up in Toronto years and years ago, I remember being on the subway and people were looking at my fingers. Now people look and they just acknowledge and accept who you are. especially in Toronto, people are quite accepting. But back then, I noticed they were looking at me, and I had to hide my fingernails. I was so, embarrassed.
Yeah.
For expressing myself the way I goddamn well wanted to.
Yeah,
right?
And it's not going to work then, of course.
Right, exactly.
In those days,
and it doesn't work. Now I feel very congruent with it, and you get congruent through repetition.
Yeah.
So I would wear those boots out.
Yep.
And at first, I would get, these stares that would intimidate me, and slowly but surely, I became congruent with it. In fact, what's odd is, I'm 6'5", and I love all manner of beautiful women.
Yeah.
Right? Tall, short, doesn't matter. However, a short woman will easily look up to me and say, "You're too tall." How am I going to follow through with that? So if I wear big boots, and she goes, "Oh my God, you're so tall," I can look down at my boots and say, "It's just an illusion." And she goes, "Oh."
And now I can get her. Well, and that ties so great with your identity.
No doubt.
Yeah. That works for anybody, but it works particularly well for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. What you can't fix, you feature.
Yeah. And I want to talk about this because you've been talking about exceptionally beautiful women. You've been talking about how, there's hired help. And you've dated celebrities, you've dated Playboy models. I mean, you've really kind of been able to attract...
My mother is so proud of me. You've done very well for yourself,
You did very well for yourself, mister. No, but really women that I think most guys would think are absolutely unobtainable. And one of the things I want to hear you talk about is your opinion. I want to ask you, get it right from your mouth.
All right.
Are these exceptionally beautiful women, are they harder to attract and seduce than average women?
They're not harder.
I want everyone to hear
They're
this.
just different. Mm-hmm. There's this misconception currently that, it's really easy to get a 1, but it's really hard to get a 10. Let me tell you.
I'm even trying to picture a 1.
A 1, okay. Well, let's say a girl who's, not so beautiful. That doesn't mean that they're not great people, by the way.
Yeah.
I have female friends too. It doesn't mean I want to have sex with them, but I certainly want to be their friend because they're great people. But some people think that it's easier to get a girl who's not really good looking, and it's harder to get a girl who's really good looking.
Yep.
As if the bigger their rating is, the harder it is. As if difficulty level has some sort of connection with their rating. It doesn't.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a sweet spot where a 9 is a lot easier to get than a 7.
Okay.
And the reason is because a 7, so many people have said bad things to a 7, right?
Oh, like they've hit on them badly.
They've hit on them badly.
Yeah.
But a 9, of course, they have been hit on a lot. They've been hit on very nicely.
Interesting.
What I mean by this is, like you're saying, badly.
Yeah.
Badly as in drunk, hey baby, want to have sex?
Yep.
Or worse. 9s don't really go out, 9s and 10s don't really go out and get that sort of treatment.
Well, they're never alone.
They're never alone.
Yeah.
Women of beauty are usually found in groups of people. They're protecting themselves from the barrage of those, of the lovable losers who need to have liquid courage.
Yeah.
So at the end of the night, they get just barraged, right?
Yeah.
The 10s really, real quality 10s models and
most of those guys don't even have the guts to go up to those women.
That's true. That's true too. But the point though is with 7s, they've been hit on, and they've also been purposefully rejected. Hey baby, you want to have sex? And it's been done horribly. So the 7s, they will reject you before you have a chance to reject them, because they're 7s, they get rejected.
They just
right. They grow a callus. They grow used to it. So in many ways, I think it's harder to get a woman who is a 7 than a 10. Here's why. Now it's harder, of course, to attract a 10. All right,
okay.
At first, but that attraction's just the first step. There's
first
attraction.
5 minutes.
That's
10
right.
minutes?
First 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Then of course we have to build comfort and finally have mutual seduction. So a 10 has said no to men so often, because they do get hit on.
Yeah.
Right. But they've been hit on really nicely. Like, oh, you're really beautiful, and she's like, I know. Can I talk to my friends again?
Okay.
Thanks for interrupting.
I see.
They've said no so often that when a man comes along and says something to her to lower her self-esteem a little bit. For instance, if you were to say to a beautiful woman, all right, hands off the merchandise. This shit ain't for free, and it's playful, of course.
Sure.
But to presume that you are the prize.
Yeah.
That is really something they haven't seen often in their life. They usually get guys hitting on them immediately. So they've said no so often that when they finally decide to say yes, yes means yes. It is
serious.
It's serious. They say no so often. They go home alone so often that when they finally find a man that has triggered their attraction, yes is yes. But on a 7, it's very wishy-washy.
It's like maybe
now,
but
it takes
other
longer.
guys,
Other guys, they know that they've gotten hit on and they've been used to getting rejected as well, so they're going to reject you first. It's really muddled. Now on a 1, I'm presuming, it would be a lot easier because you can go in and say, wow, hey, grab her big hips and say, yummy, voluptuous, and leave it at that.
We are recording this.
Right. And that, I presume, would be good enough. With the
I've
10...
I've heard the opposite. I've heard some guys say that that's even hard because those girls have such low self-esteem that it's almost impossible to do someone because they're so suspicious.
I hear there are some other guys out there working on UGG theory. But I'm not an expert.
I'm
not an expert.
I'll maybe get to that interview in a couple years. Don't hold your breath. Yeah.
But what's funny about that though is it actually keeps the mystery method from being complete because the mystery method is not designed for Uggs. Again, no disrespect to Uggs. I love them like little brothers. Then there's the mid-range girls. I'm really not prepared, and I don't teach. How to get a 7. These girls, they're used to rejection, and so if I throw a neg, something to disqualify myself from making me appear like I'm a potential suitor. If I do that, she's heard these before, so she's ready to respond to these. But a 10, a 10 does not get negged. It does not occur. So finally a man comes along and says either hands off the merchandise or if she wants to touch my goggles, can I try them on? Hey, I don't know where your hands have been. They don't get that. They normally, oh my God, yes, please, try them on. Right? That they're not used to having something negative take place. And they respond very quickly. So again, it's not harder. It's just different.
Well, in fact, I mean, as you said, these techniques work better on the most attractive women.
Neg theory is designed for 9s and 10s. It's not designed for the 7s and the 8s.
And the other thing I heard that I haven't heard from you before is that once you get past attraction, things are actually easier with the more beautiful women because it seems like they don't let as many men past that phase.
That's right.
And so once you get past that phase, there's less competition.
Exactly.
And I haven't heard you say that before, but that makes a lot of sense to me. That's really interesting.
It's easier in some cases.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
Makes me want to go out. I mean,
no doubt.
This is a great interview, but
no doubt. Exactly. Well, we're going out tonight. I've got a group of young bucks that are itching to go. In fact, I'm going to have to head down there. I think my assistant is pretty much done talking.
Let me get one question in because this is something I really because you've been teaching for I don't know how many years now.
Well, I am now. This is a crazy thing. I've become a professional pickup artist.
Amazing. Not a bad job.
Not a bad job at all.
Yeah.
I get to meet lots of beautiful women in different cities and show off to the boys.
Yeah.
And catch them up to
speed.
You get paid. And learn what Dad never taught them.
Yeah. But now I wanted to ask you, with all that experience, what is, you think, the single thing that holds most men back? Because there's a lot of information out there. Much of it is good. A lot of the information is good. What do you think really holds people back?
They don't focus on the process. They focus on the results.
Yeah.
That's a major distinction between the guys who get good and the guys who don't.
Okay.
If you focus on the results, you're not focusing on the specific sequence of events that must take place. In other words, if there's a woman, they will go up and try to get her instead of thinking of this particular woman in a scenario, as a social scenario, as an opportunity to practice for a time in the future. When a woman of particular quality comes along, they'll then have the skill set to get her like that. But they're not focusing on that. They're instead focusing on, I just want to get laid. Imagine if they were to let go of their outcome, not try to get the girl for a little bit, and instead focus on the skill set, to develop a skill set that'll get them every girl. They will then, therefore, be on the path to mastery. Now, what is mastery? Mastery is is this gold ring that we're striving for.
I can see it.
It's right there. It's so close. I want to touch it. Imagine walking through the world knowing that you could have any woman that you want. Now, there are women out in the world that pretty much could get any guy. Now, maybe...
Except us.
Exactly, because we're hard to get.
Yeah.
Let's say Britney Spears is a case in point. She is a beautiful girl. She works out.
She's okay.
And she's got some social
Sorry,
proof to
Britney.
boot. And exactly. And she can pretty much have any guy that she wants. Maybe not an old man, and maybe not the gay guy, but away from technicalities and getting away from the fact that there are some people that she's just not attracted to. It has to be any man that she wants.
Yeah.
Well, similarly, imagine if there was a possibility. Let's just talk about possibility for now.
Okay.
That a skill set could be developed whereby a man could get virtually any woman he wanted. Now, wanted means desired.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's the 9s and 10s. So I don't know how to get a 7. Can I get a 7? Yeah, I'm sure it's possible. But it's more probable to get a 9 and a 10 for me than a 7. I certainly don't know how to pick up an old lady either. I don't have, old lady theory solidified in my brain. It's only the type of woman I want that I have the skill set to now go after.
Yeah.
Now, this is the craziest thing. If it's possible to get any woman you want, there must be a method to that.
Yeah.
And that's what we're after.
Yeah. And what I'm hearing is it's practice of a method that's going to get people results, as opposed to this idea of I just want to get laid.
What would you rather have? Would you rather have 1 10 in your life that you could lose, or would you rather have the skill set to get any 10?
Well, and when you said that, I want to get laid, it's like my whole body tensed up, because that mentality of I just want to get laid right now, it just affects the whole way you carry yourself. And women are going to smell it.
Yeah.
And the ironic thing is when people go to practice a skill set, that's when they get the success, even in the short term. It's my experience with students, because they're relaxed. They're not tense.
If you get a woman in your life, a quality woman in your life while you're practicing, oh, poor guy, that's a quality problem. A lot of people don't have momentum. They're lacking the momentum that they need in order to build a proper skill set.
Yeah.
An example of that would be, let's say here's a board, and you want to punch through this board. Most people focus on the board as if this board is one woman, and they want to get to that woman.
Yeah.
And if you punch towards this, you're just going to have enough energy to get to it. Instead,
it's going to be painful.
No doubt. And you're not going to get through the damn board. You're not going to break the board. But instead, if you focus beyond the board, not on the one girl that's right in front of you, but instead, in the future, you're going to focus on the skill set so that you can definitely punch through the board.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking for. We're looking for momentum.
Yeah.
Be process-oriented, not results-oriented, and you will be well on your way, on your path to mastery.
Well, it's great advice. Focusing on the method, focusing on the ideas, focusing on your own skill set, not focusing on the girl you're talking to right now.
Exactly.
Or this night, what's going to happen this night.
And tonight, my boys are coming out with me, and we're going to do at least a dozen sets each.
Great.
It's only one every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? It's not... It's not over-ambitious.
I'm sure most of them will do more.
Yeah. Some will do more, some maybe a little less, but somewhere around 12 on average. And they're going to get a lot of experience under their belt for a time in the future. Yeah. When they need it.
Well, no, and I remember when I was doing that, you
went through this with me, man. We were in Vegas for that.
And I was doing really well,
yeah.
And you stopped me.
Right.
And you, quote, ruined my interaction with the women.
It wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
You caught up since. No, don't get me wrong. You definitely caught up since.
No, because learning is what we were there for.
That's right.
We were there to learn.
That's right.
We weren't there to get results for that night. We were there to learn as much from you as we could.
These guys are going to sacrifice a dozen sets tonight.
Yeah.
In order to develop their skill set.
Yep.
And that's what you did. We were sacrificing potentially good sets.
Yeah.
We're doing it just so that we can get the proper material.
Yeah.
Into the set.
Punching through the board.
Yeah. Sometimes, for instance, there's a routine or a skill set, a small little skill set that I'm going to be teaching them very shortly, in fact, called the photographic memory routine.
Yeah.
By the end of today, every single person in that room is going to have a photographic memory, and they will be able to demonstrate it.
I remember that routine.
Good. It's a good thing. I
did not forget the photographic memory routine.
Memory routine. And really, it's best done in comfort, at least 10 minutes in isolation with the girl, and it impresses her.
Yeah.
And not really great for opening a set. But let's say you don't have that particular routine practiced and up to speed.
Yeah.
And you're talking to a group of people that, the woman, the hottest woman in the group isn't going to be your girlfriend. It's just a practice set.
Yeah.
It's not like, and when I say practice set, I don't mean to be demeaning in any way, because you have a social interaction with a bunch of people, and we're giving off a lot of energy, a lot of fun.
They always have a good time.
It is a privilege to be picked up by me. I tell you, it is fun. Do you know how hard I work to make that an experience that is unforgettable? But let's say you don't have the photographic memory routine up to speed just yet.
Yeah.
So, you will put it in maybe a little prematurely. Maybe you'll even open with it. It's maybe the wrong time to use it.
Yeah.
Normally, but I got to get that routine up to speed and get it practiced.
Yeah.
Right? Because here's the bad news about this routine. If you don't prove to them that you have a photographic memory after all your claims, you're not getting laid.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. So you need to definitely hone that particular routine and perfect it.
Yep.
So perfect it early.
Yep.
Throw it in as an opener, and then later on you can throw it into the appropriate moment.
Yep.
In an important set.
Yeah. So it's like building a piece of the puzzle that you can use later.
That's right. In the next 6 weeks, in fact, are going to be a real trial period for these guys, because they're going to have to barrel through the incongruence of working material that I'm giving them.
Yep.
To make them interesting.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like a neat thought. And then I'm giving you a false time constraint. It's a real time constraint. I got them waiting for me. And I really should get going. That's it. We had a good run until that point.
It was so good. It was going so good.
No, but I just have a legitimate time constraint.
I really concerned. But you answered my question. You answered my question. Cool. The idea is really just focusing on the results. Yeah. Or not focusing on the results.
No, not focusing on the results.
Focusing on the process. Learning the pieces.
That's right. Step by step. Yeah. Over the next 6 weeks, as I was saying, this is going to be.
And you need to give those guys the steps right now.
It's a trial period for them.
Yep.
Once they get all the separate pieces of material up to speed, and they may be throwing it, into practice game. They'll be prematurely throwing these pieces into their sets.
Yep.
Just to get the material up to speed, to get rid of that incongruence where what they say and how they say it just don't jive. It's unscripted. Once they get rid of that, then they can embark upon the process of putting it in at the exact right moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is easier because then you have the pieces. And then you have the pieces to work with.
Exactly. And then they'll be thinking gambit for gambit, not word for word.
Yeah.
And right now, so they're gonna. We call it a boot camp for a reason. This is intense.
Yeah.
All day long, like while we're having a great time here listening to this music and chilling out, they're downstairs right now with one of my former students turned instructors.
Yeah.
He's really kick-ass at the game.
Yeah, he's great.
And he is now teaching them specific gambits that they have to use literally tonight.
Yep.
That's
a lot of pressure.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yep.
And we're going to let go of it. We're going to sacrifice a dozen sets to get that material up to speed. When you learn a new piece of material, the first time you use it's going to be scary.
Yeah.
But you do it half a dozen times, and you'll start feeling like you got it a little bit.
Yeah.
You do it a couple dozen times.
Yeah.
And you got it.
You don't have to think about it.
And then you can trust that particular gambit when you're about to go into a set that is real hardcore, like a 5-set, 4 guys and a 10.
Yeah.
How am I going to win this set? I can trust on that photographic memory routine to demonstrate a higher value within that set.
Well, what I love about that too is that when people have those gambits or those routines, they also don't need to think about it. They can actually observe. Yeah. They can actually observe the reactions they're getting and kind of respond.
They can just let it come out, and it frees up their brain.
Yep.
To see where am I in this?
Yep. How am I doing?
Yeah. How am I doing here?
All right.
In this courtship.
Well, I'm gonna let you go.
All right, man.
I know your students. Good seeing you, man.
You too. We'll have to play.
We will.
Good.
Maybe I'll see you out there tonight.
Sounds good.
All right, man.
All right, man. Cheers.
Cheers.